What's up, everybody? It's me, Johnny. Today, I want to do my version of this topic about taking care of your record collection. First, I want to talk about buying, like where you can buy and all that, and I want to I'll make a little tips in between. And I'm going to talk about cleaning them and then organizing them. So, I'm about to get started in a minute. I have some albums here as an example. Okay, so here we go. All right, so first, let's talk about buying. Places you can buy and go. You know, vinyl in the past couple of years have gotten really big. The spike of interest has gone up a lot, and that's great in a lot of ways. You know, the interest is there. There's a lot out there. There's a lot of reissues. Prices are pretty fair now because, you know, the demand turned over. So I think prices are pretty fair, except for select artists. You know, there's some artists that are still very collectible, like David Bowie and the Beatles and Pink Floyd and stuff like that. But for the most part, there's a lot of stuff out there you can get. So where can you get them? Really, you can get them a lot of places, the internet or in store places. The internet, Discogs got really big. I just started shopping on Discogs myself, and there's pretty good stuff. It's just like shopping on eBay. The only thing I don't like about Discogs is you can't see the picture of the actual item you're getting. It just goes by the grading scale. So but Discogs is one, and it got really big now. eBay's always been around. I always shopped on eBay sometimes. And of course, besides online, and there's Amazon. I really don't recommend Amazon for used stuff though, neither. But there is Amazon. Buying like stuff in store. Well, a lot of places are starting to sell vinyl now. You know, if anyone has a Target around them, Target's getting big with vinyl. You got entertainment stores like FYE. You got Best Buy. You even got bookstores like Books A Million. They're starting to sell vinyl too. And Second and Charles, which is like a Books A Million store, but it has vinyl and other stuff. So there's a lot of places, and also antique shops. You can go to antique shops. Sometimes there's booths in antique shops that have records. You can find some stuff in there. And of course, your local record stores. You can look up record stores in the area and go there. And another thing, I do not shun out like Goodwills or thrift stores. You never know what you can find in there. I think it really depends on the area where people donate. And I know a couple of thrift stores that are pretty good in my area. Really, I found some of the best stuff, believe it or not, at thrift stores. Some albums that I got for $1 that are worth like 20 or maybe even higher. I mentioned here I do record shows with me and a friend of mine. There's a guy who I work at a record show. He found a butcher cover, like recovered butcher cover of the Beatles. I think the Yesterday and Today album. It actually wasn't too far from my area, but I didn't find it though. But yeah, I mean, I get why people do shun them out, those thrift stores, because when you go in there, you see the artists you always see in there is like Barry Manilow, Barbra Streisand, and actually one of my favorite artists, Johnny Mathis. But you never know what you can find there. I think it just depends on the area. But yeah, so all right. So when you're shopping and buying albums, what are you looking for? Well, when you're looking, it's really up to you. Actually, I mean, I know some people. So like I said, I have albums here to give an example. There's some people who just care about the music. Can have a little bit of a beat up cover and the vinyl, and they don't care as long as the vinyl is great. Like this. I had this for a lot of years, since I was about 13. I'd like to get a new one day. But this is Billy Joel, An Innocent Man. Yeah, that's some wear on the cover, if you look at it. But when you take the vinyl out, it's beautiful, So you get people that are like that. Or even vice versa. For me, use this as an example. Like earlier albums that are older, I consider the age. But sometimes, so there's some people that care about the cover more than the vinyl. Like, for example, this is a little example, but this ain't horrible shape. This one, I have Elvis's original 1957 Christmas album. The cover's in beautiful shape. But with a release like this, I consider the age, But this one's in good shape. When I mean I consider age, sometimes I consider the age with the vinyl. You take this vinyl out, you can tell, it got a lot of play. Whoever owned this did have a lot of play, but really for this, it's just a rarity of it. Another example is this. Elvis's first album. I got Elvis's first album. You look at it, it presents nicely. But sometimes, you consider the age too. Like, for example, the top of this one, I don't know if you can see, it presents nicely, beautiful cover, but it has a little bit of chipping off on the seam on the top. If I consider it a rarity. But it's just really whatever you're shopping for. If you're shopping for, you just care about the music, or maybe you just, like me, for the most part, I'm a serious collector. I like to get the whole package. The price needs to match the condition with me. But there's some people, man, that buy, like, anything. It can be beat the crap. Actually, I know a guy who's like that. So you'd be surprised what people will buy. I go to these record shows, and I'm like, wow, you paid that much for that? But it's all just really a matter of opinion. So it's really just whatever your preference is. So except I'll keep that up to you. All right. So after you buy your records, you get them home. Usually, before I play them, I like to clean them. So I'm gonna give you some cleaning tips. This is just my opinion. Some people don't agree with this, but I want to say a good amount of people do it this way. There's a lot of ways to clean your the actual vinyl itself. Some people buy those record cleaning solutions. I don't trust those. Those make me nervous for some reason. They make me more nervous than what I'm about to show you now. But I always clean my records with this. I've seen people buy those record cleaning solutions and it makes them cloudy. It keeps some kind of residue on them and it messes them up. So I don't do that. What I use is rubbing alcohol. I've been using it for years. There's different mixes. There's 50, 70, and 90%. I use it 50%. And what I usually do is I'll take a cotton ball and I'll just take it real quick, just a dab, not anything crazy. Depending on how dirty it is. But with me, going back to buying, if it's something that's super dirty, unless it's rare or something, it's not worth me buying. Because sometimes it'll take forever to get that thing cleaned. But yeah, so I use rubbing alcohol. And then sometimes, and when I'm digitizing my records sometimes, when I do them with rare stuff, I get a lintless cloth. It picks up all the extra dust. And it's debatable. Some people talk about, how you should clean them if you use rubbing alcohol. They say not to go in a circular motion. They say go from the inside to the out in straight lines. I kind of do both. But when I go in a circular motion, I go the opposite way of where it turns on the record player. You don't have to put a lot of pressure. Just slightly go all the way around, all the way to the inside. And then I kind of do both. And then I go from the inside to the out, and then straight. And then I take it and I do the edges. And then that's how I clean it. So, yeah. So that's how I clean. That's what I suggest. But somebody else may have another suggestion. But I'm going to share something with you that a lot of people do not know, I feel like. I'm going to talk about cleaning 78 records. 78 RPM records. And my example I'm using is from my 1978, my 78 RPM record set of Frank Sinatra's debut, The Voice of Frank Sinatra. When you clean these, do not, I repeat, do not clean this with alcohol. This will leave a residue. I learned the hard way. Now with this, when another 78 set I had, all you gotta do is they say use distilled water, but you could probably just use regular water. Just get in this, you can get a little spray bottle and just spray all around it. That's what you do. Because this is made of a different type of plastic material. It's called shellac. So yeah. So that's how you clean those. And another way I do not recommend, I've seen people on their channels showing cleaning them. I would never do it with my valuable records. I've done it before with like big band records. People will put these under the sink. And going back to what I said before, if I have to like go that far to clean a record, it's not worth me buying. That's just the way I am. But I've seen people put these under the sink and wash it with actual dish soap, and maybe it's okay, but it's just too risky for me. I could never do that with my record collection unless it was something that's not worth anything. But and it gets on the label. They say, oh, if it gets on the label, it's a little okay, but not for me. I don't suggest it. I don't suggest that way, but some people do that. If you feel happy doing that, go ahead. But I don't recommend it. So, all right. So you're playing it. All right. So after you clean it, you usually play the album. So say you're playing the album and you notice that it's warped. So let's talk about warped records. Well, none of us really like warped records, but every once in a while it happens. Sometimes we purchase a warped record without knowing or without looking. So usually when I'm purchasing, I like to take it and go like this with it. Try to put it as straight as possible and turn it and see if it's warped or not. Well, one time I got a warped record, and I'm like, and it wasn't that bad. Sometimes if it's a little wave to it, it's okay. I can deal with it. But if it's something that's crazy or like bottoming out on the turntable, not for me. So, but if you have something with a little wave, I have an idea that actually helps to get rid of that wave. I did it before, and it worked pretty good. So, what you do is, you take, where's the cover to it? Oh, right here. Okay, so you take, the record out of the sleeve, okay? Keep it in the inner sleeve. Lay it on a flat surface, all right? Flattest surface you can find. If you have a whole bunch of heavy, like coffee books, thick, heavy, hardbound books, just stack them on top. I did that for about a week on a record, and it was not warped anymore. All that pressure made it flat. So I said, give it a try. Maybe it'll work for you. If you have a warped record somewhere, it does work. You'll notice a difference. I'm not saying it's gonna make a huge difference if you have a big warp, but I think it helps. I found it helped for me. So maybe you want to give that a try. All right. So say also when you're playing the record, have you ever had a record that when you played it, it's going around the turntable, and it skips, but it holds in that spot. It just keeps repeating and repeating. The way to get that out, and people right away sometimes saying, oh, it's messed up. It was pressed wrong. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes when that happens, there's a piece of dust or some kind of residue, or maybe even when it was made. That's why even when I get new records, I clean them. There's something stuck in that groove. How to get that out? People are afraid to do this, but I've done it before and it works. So you just got to be careful. Say it's sitting on a turntable, it's going around, it's repeating. Take your finger and put on the end where the stylus is. Just put a little bit of pressure. Don't press down on it. Sometimes it just needs a tad bit of pressure. And then when it goes around, if it stops, repeating in that part, take your finger off of it. That means it probably knocked it out of that groove just from the little pressure of your finger. Or if you have one of the ones with the adjustable weight on the arm, that's good too. So, yeah, all you gotta do is put your finger on it, pop it out, just don't press down. Can't stress that enough, okay? I don't want to be the one to blame if you do that, okay? So, that's another way. All right, so after you play your record, you want to organize them, all right? So, what do I do to organize them? Well, if I have, let me get another example. I'm going to show you how I organize the LPs, and I'll show you how I organize my 45s. All right, so here's the Luther Vandross, Never Too Much. As you see, I have them in these plastic sleeves. And there's a white plastic sleeve. I ordered these offline on Amazon. They come in a pack of 100 of each, in these and the inner sleeves. They're about between 20 and 25 bucks. They're around that area. That's how much they are. And there's there's many different types of plastic sleeves you can get. There's 1, 2, and 3 milli sleeve. It's a thickness. I get the 2. I find that the thick ones, they're really thick, and I feel like sometimes they leave a cloudy residue on the cover if it's just me, or maybe it's just in the plastic itself. But so I get the 2. These are a little thin. Sometimes you gotta be careful with them; they can rip easily. But these plastic sleeves, but they're good. They do the job. So what I usually do, so I have the record, because I take great pride in my record collection. If it has like a picture inner sleeve, I like to take the original record out, Keep the original picture sleeve on the inside. And take one of these, one of the paper sleeves I ordered, and put the record in the sleeve. And I like to store it on the outside, on the back. Usually when you see my collection and I'm showing it, I usually show the back. You always see them on the outside. Because I feel like that prevents more wear. And then with the plastic sleeves that I ordered, I like to put the album in there like this. And when I put the vinyl in, I like to put it without the flap exposed on the top, as dust can get in there. So I put them to the side, like that. Then I put it behind it to prevent further wear. And as we all should know, and when you sit them on your shelf, you want to stand them up as straight as possible, not leaning. If they're leaning, because maybe you don't have a full shelf, I recommend get a bookend and to keep it up. And of course, we all know you never lay them flat. Okay? So, that's what you do with that. And I do the same with my 45s. I like to replace the white sleeve with new ones to make it look more presentable. Same with these. I like to buy the ones for the 45s and for the records. Even if it has a sleeve like this, I put it in a white sleeve. So, that's what I do to take care of my collection. I'm trying to think if I have to cover anything else. You know what? I think that's it. You know what? I hope you guys found this. I didn't even use all my examples I had, but I hope you all found this helpful. Just give you an idea of what I think, how you should take care of your collection, and buy, and store, and clean. So yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. So I'll see you all next time. So see you later. Bye.